Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the StarLadder RMR event. This is the closed qualifier, and it's time to find out which team is going to be grabbing a spot in the main event. My name's Dinko, joined by Hawker for this one, and we're heading into day 2, Alex. Yesterday we've seen all the favorites move through to the winners brackets. How do you feel about yesterday's games?
I'm feeling good, and now I'm getting to see what these winners games can do, right? Because that's what we were waiting to see, I think, into this qualifier. We were waiting to see those top teams, who's going to be able to make it, who's going to be able to show up to the level we expect from them. We're going to get the chance to see that today, because we did get a couple of one-sided maps, especially for Entropiq on that first day. So hopefully today's a bit more competitive, at least for Entropiq.
But we didn't get to see Ancient yesterday, unfortunately, Alex, so hopefully we can see that today at some point. Probably not in our first series, but we'll take a look at it, see if we can get it in the next few series over the next few days. We're here for quite a few days, in fact, up until the 21st, so plenty of action coming your way. But of course, this is the closed qualifier for the RMR event. The RMR events are the regional major rankings, so we're here to find out all about the regions all over the world competing for their spot at the CSGO major in Stockholm in November. And to do that, obviously, they have to compete for a certain amount of points. We can take a look at the standings and bring those up to see where we're standing right now with the CIS teams overall, Alex, because we've seen them yesterday, and I have to say it's so competitive right now in terms of the teams that are leading the way. Spirit's up there on top, then you've got the likes of Gambit, Navi, you've got Virtus Pro up there, so so many teams all competing for the top spots. So this is very important for the likes of Entropiq, who are currently placed in 6th, to go ahead and get a spot in the main event, and for a team like Nemiga to get into that main event, to get as many points as possible, and possibly get a spot at that major in the future. And this match is going to mean a lot for both teams.
Yeah, definitely, especially because Nemiga didn't get any points from that previous RMR event. The only points they have are from the first one, so they only have 240 points right now. They are pretty far behind a lot of the other teams in the pack, so they could really do with having a very good result. And to get that, they have to qualify to the main event first. And if they could do so by beating Entropiq and getting this first spot in the group, that would be a real statement, because we know Entropiq are one of the teams who can compete and can win against the best teams in the CIS region. So I think a lot on the line in this winners bracket final to see which of these teams is going to go into that main event in good form.
Yeah, obviously over down there in the elimination match, if you're interested in following Cam versus X Marlian, that will be playing a little bit later on as well. So we're taking a look at Group A right now, but of course we did see Group A play out, Group B, should I say, play out yesterday as well. And coming into Group B, it was certainly Fours as the favorites for me in their opening game, and then K23 versus 100 Ping Gods. I think we both would have said K23 should be heading their way through. They did that pretty effectively. Both teams getting their spots in the winners bracket. Fours versus K23 is going to be an exciting game, Alex. I think that one's actually a little bit of a sleeper game. I don't know how many people at home are going to be familiar with this matchup, but I feel like K23 could definitely bring a good fight to Fours, especially because there was points yesterday where Fours didn't look that comfortable against EC Kiev, who have found themselves in the elimination match up against 100 Ping Gods, battling it out for elimination. So right now, Fours versus K23, what are your thoughts on this one?
I think that should be our closer game today, in my opinion. I think K23 have got the pieces to make that a really competitive series. I really like Neolan as an IGL as well. I think he brings a lot of fragging, and he does some smart things for the team. So I think he can set them up well. And yeah, Fours should probably be favorites, but I still think K23 are a team that you've always got to watch out for. They're always hanging around there in this region and being a team that are never going to be a pushover.
Yeah, exactly. And down there in the elimination bracket, EC Kiev, we've seen them look pretty decent yesterday. I think they've got a good chance of taking on 100 Ping Gods and getting that spot in the decider matchup. And of course, whoever loses today's match versus Fours and K23 will head down to that decider match, and they will have another chance to get to the main event. But quite a quick road for some of these teams, especially if you just win 2 of your best of 3, you should get a spot at the main event. But here's our matches for today. It's going to be on the A stream. We're running 2 simultaneous streams, one here on the A stream you're currently watching, and if you add a 2 to the URL above, you can head over to the secondary stream and watch the elimination games. But we've got Entropiq versus Nemiga opening things up. We've got 2 teams that won their matches yesterday, coming out looking hot. This game, Alex, I'm feeling excited about this one. I think Entropiq, what they showed us yesterday, is certainly the strongest team. But Nemiga, they're never a team you can really count out, right? They've got so many good players in there you can get excited about. But the one thing I don't like about Nemiga is they ban Ancient, they perma-ban Ancient, so we won't be seeing that come in this best of 3.
Yeah, they go ahead and get rid of that immediately. Now, this veto has got a little bit of history in it, because these teams did play just 2 weeks ago. it was Entropiq who won that last matchup 2-0, but they picked us 2 in that series, and that one went to double overtime, and Nemiga were really competitive on that Dust 2. So we see the Mirage pick come through from Nemiga. This is pretty common for them. I think this is what you'd expect to see from them. They won it yesterday against X-Malian, but then I like that switch up from Entropiq. That Dust 2 is a little bit too scary. I think going into the overpass is probably a safer choice. We saw they were looking very good on that map yesterday, and I don't think it's a great map for Nemiga either. And unlike Dust 2, which can be maybe a bit more variance heavy sometimes, I think if you're the better team on overpass, you should win it the majority of the time.
Yeah, we definitely did see a good performance out of Entropiq on overpass, so I'm looking forward to seeing that come out again. Vertigo coming in as the ban for Nemiga. We'll get to see what's up as our final decider map, and it will be Nuke if needed to go there. And, you know, not the Dust 2, right? We were here on the CIS Qualifier, and we haven't seen a Dust 2 yet, Alex. To me, that's kind of crazy, right? Because a lot of these teams do like to go towards Dust 2, but as the region is sort of leveling up, and you're in these best of threes, Dust 2 definitely can see a little bit of a boot, right? It's too much of a 50-50, too much of a gamble. So I like that Mirage is coming in here. I think Nemiga have always been a fun team to watch in this map, and Nuke if we need it. But the question is, of course, do you think we're going to need Nuke, or do you feel like there's a clear favorite here? You should be taking this 2-0.
Unfortunately, I think it should be the 2-0 for Entropiq. I just don't see a good option for Nemiga to have a really safe pick here. I just think the way the maps work out between these two teams, Nemiga don't get a good option for a nice safe pick, which they should be favored in. You know, Mirage maybe isn't Entropiq's best map, but it's a map they're going to be very capable on. I think individually Entropiq should still have the edge too. So for me, just based on what we saw yesterday from Entropiq, and based on the fact that Nemiga actually had a pretty close map on Mirage yesterday, I feel like Entropiq can take this 2-0. But that's more just because they're so good than anything to do with Nemiga.
Yeah, and of course, it isn't the last chance for Nemiga to make it through. Of course, they have that decider matchup, even if they lose this. But it's the same for both of these teams right now. So, yeah, I think I'm going to side with you. I think I'm going to go with Entropiq taking the series 2-0. I liked what I've seen from them yesterday. I like what I've seen from them recently. I think they're just getting better and better. And this project really excites me because you're taking the best pieces from that Hard Legion / 3 meters team, you put them into this roster, and you pulled in some other exciting players who have been around the CIS region for a little while, but haven't quite gone to the next level, haven't quite taken the next step. And it will take a little bit of time to get them into the solid spots and really see them fully immerse themselves as one of the better CIS teams, but they're doing a good job right now in terms of taking the right steps forward, and they could be at the major, right? They're in 6th place right now. I personally favor them to head into the top 5, at least if they make it to this main event. So getting there with as few games as possible, winning your 2 BO3s and getting right into the main event would be the perfect start to this qualification process for Entropiq. Because you have to remember, it hasn't been too long since the last RMR, right? It has not been long at all since they last played the CIS RMR, so there hasn't been many changes. You won't kind of expect the same teams to perform the same way. And Entropiq, they definitely impressed. They just missed out, unfortunately, but if they can learn from the mistakes coming into a tournament following up, I feel like they've got it, Alex.
I think they should have this series too. I also think, looking at this matchup, there are a couple of, I think, interesting storylines to watch out for. So the first one for me is Lollipop should be the best player on Nemiga, but he was actually their bottom fragger yesterday, and they still won that series 2-0. So that's a good sign. The fact that Nemiga can still get that win, even when Lollipop's not playing at his best. The problem is, when you're playing against a team when you're the underdog, I think you just have to rely on your star players to show up. In these big games, you need your standout players to show up. So that's someone I'm watching out for today. Lollipop has got to be one of the best players on the server to give Nemiga a chance here.
Man, Lollipop is always one of the best players on the server. I remember he had broken his wrist or arm or something. He was still popping off, still really hitting those big numbers. So I'm certainly looking forward to seeing if he shows up today. Again, if you think you can do a better job than us here at commentating, you can do it as well. Head over to StarLadder.com. You can sign up as a community caster. That's where Alex and I got our break. Not with StarLadder, but community casters. But we'll hop into this one. Pistol begins. It's Nemiga on the T side, Entropiq over on the defensive side of things. And it's going to be a B play as they charge their way through. Nemiga trying to get past the crosshair of Lackey, and it's not quite worked out for Lackey at all right there. Lollipop and NBS getting the kills quickly into the B side, but they've been traded back. It's a 3v3 with a bomb down. A post plant coming in for Nemiga.
I don't think Entropiq had a kid at the start of this round. I'm pretty sure they went with the full Kevlar, so that's going to cost them in terms of the time. They've got to get a move on. They've got to press the issue as they come in from Kitchen.
JY up, good headshot, Box able to follow up as well, and you know, once they take that B site, it's very difficult to flush them out and really get back in that. So Nemiga, good start, just getting that equal trading into as the B site, quick heavy take, and a pistol picked up off of it.
Really great entry pathing from MDS too. You see him as that first man running in, just making sure his head box almost, his headshot hitbox is as hard to hit as possible. You see him turn his back there to the short player. You see him jumping in the air with his back turn. He's basically just making sure he can't get insta-headshotted, because that just opens up more angles for his teammates to fight that player on the site from, and it makes it so difficult for Entropiq to get multiple kills.
Well, Forrester under a good bit of pressure now with the Deagle. He's been able to dish out one. He's still alive somehow. That smoke is short, keeping him at bay now, but that's a good prediction of the angle. Another one for Forrester. 3 kills on the Deagle. Finally dropped down, but Forrester has done so much into this one. And now a 2v2. Nemiga being chunked down low. It's just MDS left alone now. 30 HP up against Entropiq. And what has Forrester just delivered from that B site?
Oh, he might have delivered them around, Dinko, on a silver platter, because MDS on just 30 health has to try and save this one for Nemiga. It's not entirely sure where those CTs can be now. The information has been taken away from him. Krad lets him pass briefly, but MDS can't cross safely. Krad's going to hold the angle and hit the headshot. Entropiq come through with a devastating second round, all thanks to Forrester.
It's kind of insane that Forrester, first of all, was able to get away with just 2 kills, but the fact he gets 3 there is fantastic. I think the most impressive was certainly the second kill he gets. You see the first one's just good, Lollipop looking the wrong way, but this good angle prediction, just really isolating his fights and taking those kills easily. Forrester winning them a very important round. That's Entropiq. That's them all over, right? They have the tactical element, but they also have that explosive ability off some of these individual players that can win you rounds like that. We've seen it yesterday. And we've already seen it today, so Nemiga getting a little taste of that medicine, and it's a pretty sour taste.
It certainly is. And I do think that's probably the big difference between these two teams for me, is that they both have the ability to win those sorts of rounds with the explosive plays. But the difference for me is, I feel like Entropiq have got the fundamentals down where they're less likely to lose those sorts of rounds. Whereas for Nemiga, sometimes the trades won't be quick enough. Maybe sometimes the nades won't be there to set up those easier kills. Unfortunately, that's a round where Forrester's able to get away with a bunch of body shots. And credit to Forrester. He played that angle really well to isolate those fights. But Nemiga just not able to put their players in the right positions. Now this round should be a non-starter for Nemiga. They don't really have anything to work with.
Elliot, low HP player down in underpass as well. Hasn't been able to double up, but has got a singular kill. MDS somehow getting away with one on the P250. And now Elliot has to consider isolating a couple of these fights. He's aware of the under window player, but also the top mid frag. And luckily Forrester coming in from underpass secures that kill. And Elliot will finish off the job 2-1. You know, Alex, I was celebrating, I don't want to spoil for anybody watching home if they're just waiting to see the Euros, but there's a certain underdog that's doing quite well right now. It was a lot unfortunate yesterday. None of the underdogs really showed up in the CIS qualifier. It's mainly the favorite teams that are winning out, so we'll see if they can continue that. Entropiq have certainly got a good start coming into this one, and Nemiga, well, they've got to try and battle back with AKs. They don't have much utility though, Alex, and that can certainly be an issue.
You know what the exciting thing about this is, Dinko? Like, it's not the underdogs winning in the qualifier, but maybe once we get to the main event, that's when these teams can be the underdog, and because they're in such good form, they can cause some upsets.
It's pretty insane how we'll be here this week, and then a couple of weeks' time we're doing a main event. These teams go from being the favorites to being the bottom of the pile, right? It's kind of crazy, the depth in the CIS region now. Good double kill from Krad, though. Trying to play contact through that A ramp smoke hasn't worked out for them at all. And that's not exactly the start Nemiga would have hoped for, but it's kind of what you're limited to. It's kind of forced to make that move because you don't have any utility available. So it hasn't worked out for them as you would expect.
And relying on just winning those fights against Entropiq is difficult way to win the game against them. They've got a lot of skill stacked on this roster. We've seen that time and time again. This time it's Crad who finishes what he started, picking up a 3K on the round. I think that another cool matchup in this specific game could be seeing the aggression of Crad versus the aggression of Box, because both those players just love to take fights almost at all possible opportunities. I do think Crad has reined it in slightly, though, and you see here, he's not actually pushing this time. He's just waiting on the other side of the smoke in an aggressive angle, but he's not the one taking the fights.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think you brought up a really good point yesterday when you're talking about maybe the addition of a coach like Hooch will certainly help mature the player a bit quicker, you know, make him rein it back in, be a little bit more disciplined. I think players who are more veteran or players that have a lot of experience generally will value your life a little bit more. You don't want to be going for these high-risk plays all of the time. You want to play the percentages. Certainly not curve the play style entirely, but make sure that you rein it in at the right times. And I think Crad has just become a little bit more well-rounded over the past couple of months. Whoa. A little bit of aggression not working out for Forrester though. MDS takes him down with the Deagle, and the whole round itself not looking so good for Nemiga, but if they can drop a few players here on it, bring that economy into question slightly, that could certainly be something, at least taking out of the round. But 50 seconds left. MDS has got the AK off the corpse of Forrester. If he can dish out anything from this, that'll be a positive here for Nemiga. They're not giving him many fights, they're not giving him many chances. I like this, the discipline finally coming in here from Entropiq. You know, there's 3 players around, at least more than 2 right now in towards this B site. Nickelback is just waiting at the bench, elevated in his position. MDS is not really committing too hard just yet.
Time ticking though, so they have to commit eventually. MDS will try, but try as he might, there's no way in to the B-bomb site. Shut down by the 2 Entropiq players. Really solid start for the CTs here. And nothing too flashy from Entropiq. I mean, that's a nice opener from Forrester, but they didn't need to do too much too flashy here. Even after they give away that AK, they're able to get into the right positions to lock it down. But finally, we're going to get that buy for Nemiga with the full nades and the full AKs. A chance to show us what they can do with those nades in their back pockets.
Window smoke out early for Nemiga. It's being sent up already into window. Elian's committed down in towards mid, but I think it's better off sticking around. So Bolt back into connector smoke. By his teammate in back. Box trying to get up through the connector smoke, gets taken out by Nickelback. And Elian now there as well, but there's another player with his AK. JYO is relentless in running down that connector, finding a headshot. It's still 3v4, but JYO is changing that fact. Luckily, Crad is alive at triple, but JYO's got the timing wrong. He looked out to the left side, and that's when Crad emerges from the right side of that box. Now MDS is left in a 1 versus 3. Ram has got the bomb on his back. He needs to hit these shots, and luckily Crad's low in HP. He's taking out his teammate. Blacky's down, and Crad now under a little bit more pressure. The heat is leveled up, and now MDS has turned it into a 1v1. He can win this round. He goes towards triple. Scared of the CT position, but Crad has quickly relocated back over towards jungle. Now starts to emerge again, but MDS has the right read. He hears the step. He's got the clutch. What a round from MDS.
And MDS is one of those players who can make a lot out of a little. That's what he does on this Nemiga team. I don't think he's always set up to have those sorts of rounds, but he can have those games where he really overperforms. We've seen it in the past where he just takes over for Nemiga out of nowhere, and he's had the best start out of any Nemiga player in this game. He's starting to get form, he's starting to get a few early kills, and now he's turned it into a round win with that AK. Really well played by MDS in that position. I think he is a player who goes under the radar sometimes for Nemiga, but we got to see what he could do in that round. And that was against Crad, who himself has had a really good start to this game. So really well played and an important round for Nemiga to get after losing a couple early.
Yeah, there was so much to unpack in the round. You know, that early connector aggression coming in, JYO bringing the numbers down a little bit. But yeah, it's good that you mentioned Crad having a good start, because that round, he did everything he could. He was low HP, just loses out the 1v1, but Yeah, fantastic round overall for both teams played out. MDS just getting the job done. Flash with Lackey into middle. He's going to be tied up and forced away from the spot. Nickelback, we did start off the last round with a kill, does it again here. Oh, not the best snake, gets tied up on the fallback, but luckily stays alive.
Molly interconnected, kept him safe. In the meantime, Forrester is aware that a player may have jumped up into the window. Sometimes you can see the player blocking the light through the smoke, and as soon as you see that, you can maybe start to pull the trigger and get that kill you were looking for. Elian also got a kill with the AWP elsewhere. Nemiga's nades just not good enough this time to get them the mid control. They get picked apart, and it will have to be a hero play onto A. That's a great angle.
Yeah.
You're never clearing that. You're just never clearing that. The way he holds that angle, it's not a position you can clear because you're moving on to the site. Really nice off angle there.
Yeah, definition of an off angle right there. And the cool thing about Crad is, Alex, he seems to always change up his angles on this A side, right? It becomes quite predictable if you're staying in the same spot, but I just balance all that thought. He's got himself 2 kills back into a winnable situation, but luckily Nickelback re-emerges from the stairway, gets himself a kill to close the round. But yeah, I have to say, Crad has been a master of the A side so far. Just the amount of different angles he's been able to take and get the most out of them. Just a little unfortunately loses this duel against Idis Balance, but for the most part, great round out of Entropiq. Giving away a few too many kills in those late rounds, I think. Bit of an issue against MDS as well in that clutch, so maybe Entropiq have to tighten that up a little bit, but for the most part, it's been a pretty good start for them. And Nemiga, they're back down to pistols, but they're going towards B. Got a little bit of utility, and they've left some cash in reserve for the next round.
The hard thing here is knowing how to bait out the CT utility. They've at least baited out a Molly early, but here comes the smoke. They've got more nades left on the CT side as this push potentially could come in. Forrester is ahead of that smoke, so he can see no one committing. Now Nickelback wants to really put the pressure on them.
Nickelback aggressive in towards underpass, doing a little bit of damage, no kill, and you don't want to be caught here up against pistols. So Nickelback's going to use that utility. He's actually delayed, forcing it back up into Forrester, who gets aggressive as well. Up against the pistols, this aggression is pretty wild from Entropiq. It's not exactly needed, and they're losing a couple of these fights now. In fact, they're down a player. The play out to the B site, luckily stopped by Lackey. But this is not clean for Entropiq. This is not the playstyle I would have pulled out in a round like this up against pistols. Nemiga have a chance now as they go back in towards A. 2 players in the bomb, going their way back into Palace. They're leaving one prong to the approach over towards the B apartments, but for the most part, there's heavy A lean coming in.
They've still got to deal with not only the AWP of Valiant, but the rifle of Crad on that A-bomb site, which has been a real thorn in their side so far. Smoke and a flash available, but I think they may go without them because there's only 10 seconds remaining. Crad on the site does get traded, but Elian's there to back him up. Bomb drop, no time remaining. Box isn't even going to get the money here. He's got a kill, though, so he can save the AK, and that means he will be good to go in the next round. That could have got scary, though. If Box died after time there, he would have been in trouble ahead of this gun round. But thankfully, he wins that fight. Nice shot with the Tech 9, and now Nemiga do get the chance at the full buy, and I believe Idis Balance's first chance to show us what he can do with that AWP.
Yeah, and of course, Idis Balance, I feel kind of bad for him, Alex, because, you know, he's been a very good player. He still is a very good player. You have a player like Dexter coming into Spirit, he's got to make way for him. So I'm glad he's been able to find a team like Nemiga, and this is a huge addition for them. Bringing in Idis Balance, I think a lot of CIS teams are being made better when you bring in a player this good. So I look forward to seeing what Idis Balance could do, especially here on Mirage.
I think he can be a very streaky AWPer at times, at least when he was playing for Spirit. I felt like he had some incredible games and then some games where he was a bit quieter. So I'm definitely interested as to whether or not he's been able to get a bit more consistent now that he's on this Nemiga team. And that is a really nice shot from Elian. Just spotted a slight bit of the shoulder, bides his time for the early kill. It's back to a 4v4.
I thought he was going to get the collateral kill there towards top middle, but walks away with just one, and that Box is taking control of Connector. And while the re-peek from Elian in towards window has not worked out at all, it's Lackey now on this A side. That's got to deal with 7 players, and Box has got up into the murder hole, but Forrester has found his head. That's such an important kill. That keeps the chances afloat here for Entropiq. But we really are now looking at Lackey. Can he hold on to this A-side attack? 30 seconds left as Nemiga come in with 2 players out Tetris. One up towards top Connector, and MPS is finally spotted. Lackey gets the lineup. He's found 3. That is a beautiful hold from Lackey. He crushes Nemiga in the final seconds of round 9. And it's a 7th round for Entropiq.
We're seeing Nemiga go for these site plays without always using all the nades available to them. They're not always having that much utility left for these late scenarios, and you can already see Entropiq, whenever it is these more contact plays pushing towards the site, they just seem to be able to shut it down in the majority of these rounds. This time Lackey in the right position to line them up, and now Elian got a kill up in this round. Krat had his back turned for a flash there, and Box takes the timing on the peak, gets the kill. Now this A site could be slightly under pressure, but as soon as I say that, Nickelback gets 2 kills, and it should secure them the round.
Oh, MDS could rattle out in towards window. He's had an incredible round already so far in this series, but much more to be found in this round with very little to play with. And you did say he was a player that finds a lot with a little. This is literally nothing. 22 HP, bomb in the middle of 3 players, a minute left. Yeah, MDS, he's just biding his time at this point. I've been a fan of Entropiq so far in terms of how dynamic and lively this CT side's been. We've seen lots of variations. I would say the only thing that I don't like is the amount of times Forrester goes in for that apartments aggression. I feel like it's a little stale now as well. It's quite predictable, and it really hasn't got that much reward out of it just yet either. So maybe watch Forrester and maybe hopefully can curb that aggression a little bit, or maybe go based on information rather than just at the start of the round. So that's definitely something I'm looking out for. But for the most part, being pretty impressed with the CT side.
I think on the whole, you can't have too many complaints if you're an Entropiq fan right now. Money is still in a position where if Nemiga could just get that one breakthrough, maybe they could put Entropiq down to some weaker buys, start to get some momentum going, and those nades are brutal. The player's trapped in connector, damage done early, the AWP dropped out of the round. Nemiga with an airstrike early in the round, and now they're going to go back to A with that man advantage. They might just go for the throat here.
Oh, Lollipop. He's just biding his time, waiting for this A play to come in. Waiting for his time to strike out of Palace, but look at Krat's position. Under wood, and now the Molotov comes in. MPS checks it, and Nickelback now has to strike. He's got himself 1, the lineup of 2. He goes back in, but can't quite get the 3rd kill off. And now it's Forrester who has to do it all. He's kind of alive and kicking back into the 1v2. He's found the first headshot. Itis balances down, and with a minute left, that bomb lies in the open. Forrester now with eyes on it. He spotted JYO crossing the default, but the headshot still comes in for the Estonian player. It's 8-3, and Nemiga finally get another round.
That's what they were waiting for, and I like the way they are really quick to respond. Once those nades get the kill at mid, I think they realize it's less likely Entropiq have that full info on the mid position, so they just quickly pounce on A, hoping that it is going to be a slightly weaker site. And even though it is more heavily stacked than they might have expected, they still do a really good job at trading onto the site itself. Now it is that position we were talking about earlier, where Entropiq's money is really in trouble if they lose this one. And even this buy is not great. Elian even taking some early damage with the one premium weapon they have.
Yeah, not a great start at all here for Entropiq. See if there's any answer back for them. I feel like they would have to get one of these openings to go their way. And yet no opening has come for either side. Midpeak might just get something. In fact, it does, but it's for Nemiga. Forrester peeks out in the window, but JYO takes his head right off, and now the apartment's aggression for Entropiq is the call. Send one player up, post him up, and the other falls back into the B site itself, but it looks like the A play will be the final call here for Nemiga. As they get over here, take a look at the defense. Nickelback in towards Underwood, Crad at Sandwich. But the issue is they've just got pistols. They've got to hope for a miracle right now.
You want to go get the rifle, but peeking mid with the Mag 7 is not ever going to go well for you, I'm going to say. I can't see a world in which that ever works. Nice kills from Lollipop coming out onto the A-bomb site, and Elian would love to save the AWP. It's actually sticking around for the time being, though. Maybe seeing some kills in his future.
He's got the magic balls out.
He's gone to a fortune teller. In round 12, against Nemiga, you're going to ninja defuse. Even though you don't have a kit or a smoke, you're going to do it.
Yeah, this is probably the fortune teller full of shit. Round 12, this one is not going to work for Elliot. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you for free that this ain't going to happen. You know, that should be our new job, Alex. We should quit esports casting and go into fortune telling and just tell people, like, the most obvious truths, right? So today, the sun will rise, and we just get money. So I think it's a foolproof idea.
Today, Nemiga will play against Entropiq, and there will
you
be
can't
at
really
least
say things that are already happening, though, Alex.
At least 16 rounds, Dinko. At least.
At least 16 rounds. Oh no. What was going to happen at this point? Are we gonna
one of the teams will win the game.
Oh, that's quite a prediction.
It is.
We're all losers though on the broadcast, having to listen to your fortune telling. So it definitely won't be us. Good little double boost up into the apartments at the front. Charges his USP and Elliot going in. Nice shot on the wall, buying through onto JYO. And they're gonna drop away and try and recover that bomb. At this point, you know, if you're Nemiga, you're not happy with the start, but you should be able to pull it back, even though you have lost an early man. You've got such better weaponry. You haven't been able to pick up any of these weapons either. Tried to get it back, but Lackey, he tried to go for the weapon, but at least he gets away alive. Still the man advantage in play here for Entropiq, but what did Nemiga do here? Do they walk into what would be a couple of players lining wait for them on A, or do they just slow it down, get some info, and try and get a kill before they make anything work? Because that's what they did in the last round. They waited for that mid-aggression to come in before they did something, but it looks like the B hit's about to come in.
Elian's been to a different fortune teller who told him to go to the B bomb site, and clearly this time it's paying off for him. He's got 2 quick kills, and it's only MDS left standing. He's sneaking onto the site itself. There are a couple of players without guns on the Entropiq side, but Nickelback's got the AK, and now they know where MDS is. Only 5 bullets. He gets the first headshot, but he's out of ammo. 2 shots left. Gets the reload off. Smoke for a bit more room, but 25 seconds to work with. And he's still got to find his way to the bomb and get the bomb down.
The fortune tellers have told that MDS wins in round 13. 15 seconds left. He'll look for himself. Deep down, he'll find nothing. Nickelback with the kill. AWP picks it up. A 9th round for Entropiq. Fantastic round there from Elian as well, right? You know, just opening things up with that early pick, but then dropping back and just staying inside of this B site and just using these angles. He chooses the angles very wisely, doesn't re-peek from the same spot, just constantly moving, changing up where he's peeking from, and makes it easy for himself. He makes it look easy, but I can assure you that is not that easy to pull off. So fantastic job out of Elian. 9-4 on the board as we head into the last 2 rounds of this first half. Entropiq certainly looking like the better team, but there's been signs of life out of Nemiga. I'd love to see them get the last 2 rounds here.
Spidey's balances. Spidey's sense was tingling, but he's not going to get a peek come his way this time. Fake nades into this A bomb site. Idis Balance is still sticking around on mid, but he's finally peeked and he's not ready for it. Nickelback doing massive damage, and now Box gets baited into the AWP of Lackey.
Idis Balance just had the worst timing on that mid-peak, but luckily still alive. It's the man advantage in play here for Entropiq, and Idis Balance is barely alive on 5 HP, so not the prettiest sight here for the Nemiga side. Some ramp progression starting to come in. It'd be Crad leading the way down into Lollipop, who's winning with him the AK-47 around this corner. Nemiga know that Entropiq do have a little bit of a tendency to send some re-aggression into the mid-round. So if they can find that aggression and get that kill in, that would certainly change things up quite a bit. But not finding it, Crad. Good awareness, gets the second. That is unbelievable from Crad. He's able to double up like that. And now Lackey knows there's a player inside of Connector, but he's been dealt with. There's YO left. Looking to scrap together what he can with 25 seconds left. And he could go down again. It's 10 rounds on the board for Entropiq, and beautiful stuff from Crad in towards ramp there, Alex. That is just pure filth.
Yeah, he's been doing really well on that A site the entire game. We've been talking about it. He's even got pretty low deaths compared to his teammates, which I think goes to show how well he's been doing when he's been tested. And now into the last round of the half. Nemiga don't have the perfect buy, don't have many nades. They've got to make the most of what they've got in this round.
Yeah, and you've talked about their ability to make a lot happen out of a little, and they've got to do that a lot here in round 15. And that's a good opening for JYO, just right through the smoke, but gets caught trying to set up utility. And here comes the rest of his team. The cavalry have arrived, and the cavalry gets shut down. Elian taking both players out from the Palace walkout. And MDS, he's stuck inside the site, just looking around for his victims, but hasn't been able to find anything. Now I just balance at the back of the lines like a general, watching his troops fall. Like a captain, he will go down with the ship at this point. It's going to be 11-4 at the half coming in from Entropiq, and I think they'll be pretty happy with the start that they've got coming into today. This is definitely a more difficult opponent than they had yesterday up against Khan, so the fact that they've been able to show up this well in the first soak, okay. Nickelback definitely should have had that kill, but a nice little one tap from Midas Bounce. And maybe I'll get back to my point in just a little bit, Alex, because this round's not done.
Oh, smoke into ramp with 33 seconds remaining. That is going to make life very difficult. Midas Balance, who is hoping someone will walk through the smoke. That won't be happening, though. Bomb not even in his possession. It's going to be about getting all the kills at this point, because there are 3 CTs holding the angle, and Forrester shuts it out.
Yeah, as I was saying, you know, the really good performance from Entropiq. This is a much better team they're going up against than they had yesterday, and they're making it look quite comfortable. So I'm really impressed with what Entropiq have been able to do so far. Heading into the second half, we've got to really see a big step up from Nemiga on the CT side, and I expect to see it. I expect to see a better performance out of Nemiga on the defense. I think once you have an AWPer like Midas Balance, he should be at least performing better than he did in the first half on the CT side. A couple of these individuals have certainly looked good, so I would love to see them play much better in this second half, but they have to get a good start. Winning the pistol would certainly put them on the right path, and they're going to have to deal with a heavy B play from Entropiq coming at them right away.
Entropiq cutting the noise briefly. That's going to mean Nemiga will peek into them. And oh dear, MDS not ready early. Jo's in this close corner, but with the pistol, it's so hard to get multiple kills. They're not getting any kills. The USPs can't find their headshots. And despite stacking the right side, it has not gone according to plan.
Yeah, they even had the bait and switch set up in towards the apartments as well. Just nothing has gone their way. Finally, one kill from Box, but it's too little too late at this point. Nemiga really have to pull a rabbit out of a hat to win this round, and that's just not going to be happening here. Lackey with his headshot, Lollipop's been brought down, and Box is going to leave the scene. Yeah, you brought up the point about the stack. They stack the right site, they make the right call, they have the bait and switch set up at the end of the apartments. You're expecting something out of it, but just nothing delivered, no shots landed, and that sometimes happens, but you can't really afford to let that happen in a must-win pistol round. So Entropiq will be very happy with that.
Terrorists win.
Oh, Crag goes ahead and goes up with the bomb, just making 100% sure that they have the round in the bag. And, well, these early kills did a good deal in helping that. Crad running onto the site, getting those early couple of kills onto the site itself. 12-4 lead for Entropiq. It's looking like another dominant performance right now even coming here on Mirage, on Nemiga's pick, and just showing us what they can do. And this is what we were saying earlier, that there's no real weak point for Entropiq. There's no real clear map that Nemiga could pick against them. So even Mirage can turn out like this.
That is a pretty scary thing that this is the map pick of Nemiga. What a statement so far. You know, if they close this out very convincingly and head through to the main event, I would be a little bit worried if I was teams in 4th and 5th place in terms of the RMR ranking points. You know, Akuma definitely hanging in there barely. Forrester walking his way up connector. Entropiq figuring out where they want to go with this one. If they go into the B side, 3 players currently wait here on the defense. Lackey will be starting to clear these close angles, but JO's there with his MP9 and he's stuck in this corner, but can he get anything else? The nade comes in, the kill is down, and now MDS on his Deagle strikes open Crab, but there's much more needed to be found here, and it's just not really looking all feasible right now. Box is going to try his best, and he has got that headshot, and suddenly it is doable. Nickelback and Elliot are low in HP, and just body shots are enough off of the Deagles. And they've even got an MP9 here as well. So much damage has been inflicted onto the 2 T players, but not a kill from MDS. And that'll be a little heartbreaking for him. He's now put Box in a 1v2 retake scenario of this B site.
Pretty far away from the site itself, too. He's got the AK, but he's taken a lot of time here. I'm not sure he's even going for it at this point without the kit. Can't really assume he's going to be winning the round right now. Entropiq have got pretty good positions to trade off each other on the site. They've even got a player in kitchen who can watch the bomb. So it's looking like another round win for Entropiq. And this one comes a bit closer, but I don't think Entropiq are too fussed right now. They're getting the round wins, and that's the main thing that matters.
And 13-4. Quite a comfortable scoreline coming in here from Entropiq. 3 rounds away from victory already. Talked about how this should have been a closer enough game. I would say maybe a few more rounds here and there from Nemiga. Definitely was expecting a better fight here on Mirage, but Entropiq is showing that their map pool is pretty deep. They can battle on your map pick. They can take the fight to you on the first, and Overpass is up next, and that really does scream Entropiq to me. It's going to be very difficult to see anybody at this close qualifier come close to Entropiq on Overpass, so only very difficult to see a world in which the series doesn't go to 0 if Entropiq take the win here. And it's a good start for them up against Pistols. There's nothing really of value in play right now on the CT side, apart from that AK that Lollipop has got, so maybe he can work something out of it.
Alian can't see this player. He's waiting though, he's so patient. Oh, I think his teammate spotted Ida's balance now. Lackey gets those 2 kills on mid. You can hear that shot from MDS, and he's got to be careful that he's not overrun, but eventually gets both kills brilliantly.
Wow. It's not only just his wallpaper that's sexy, Alex. He's got himself 2 shots as well towards the end. That's incredible. Round 19. Entropiq looking to try and close this as quickly as possible, but here come Nemiga. They've got another buy back in. They've got their AWP finally in play, and this has been something I was talking about. Will we see the AWP show up on the defensive side? Because the Idis balance, you talked about him being a bit of a streaky AWPer. He hasn't really been showing up at all. He's 8 and 17. We'd love to see much more out of him. And now would be the round to do it.
Shot through the mid smoke, won't connect this time. Go back to watching the Palace angle, but Entropiq have a much more heavy focus on this mid position. Loves trying to play in and around connector for Nemiga. He loves looking over this smoke. He's very comfortable taking these fights, but Krat is sneaking in below him. What What's going on?
He's gonna hear the damage being done. They haven't checked his position, but he didn't see the second player. He didn't know it was another player top connector, so he looks back down into the smoke and he gets traded out. But it is a 1-for-1 trade. Luckily, Alien taking a double kill. Nickelback getting the kills as well, and it's all crumbled here for Nemiga. Not a single kill other than the initial box frag has come in for them, and it's going to be 15-4 match point on Nemiga's map pick here for Entropiq. And MDS has nothing to do but back away and save that M4. He cannot get involved in this round. He needs at least a weapon to play with going into the last round of this game. And Nemiga will be very disappointed about this Mirage performance, I would say.
Yeah, they've just been dominated here. And that's even with MDS playing pretty well and having some good rounds for the team. Not the player who you would expect to be at the top of the board, but it's been the one standout for them so far. We talked about Lollipop needing to be one of the best players on the server to give Nemiga a chance. That simply hasn't happened. He's 3 for 17. He's been a non-factor here, and I think that's got to be part of why Nemiga is struggling, but the other teammates haven't exactly been playing great either, and everyone on Entropiq individually are just playing so well right now, specifically Elian. I'm loving what he's doing with the AK. He's really good with that rifle.
Yeah, he's really solid overall, and that gets me excited because that's a player that I see as a star. You know, when you have a player that's really good on the AWP but kind of weak on the rifles, we call them a role player, we call them just an AWPer. But if there's someone that can pick up the rifle, they can pick up the AWP, they're good at clutches, multi-kills, that is an all-round star player. And Elian certainly has the makings of one for the future. I'd love to see him develop further. Good start from his teammate Forrester, who has been very solid again here in a lot of these rounds. Jo trying to get into the smoke at window. Here's the utility being used up. That's going to be the B play. And then, yes, you mentioned a little bit earlier on, he has been having a decent game here, but this round, unable to do anything. Elian takes him out of play. The timing's awful, looks away and dies to the hands of Forrester. It's just Box left alone, and the final few seconds on Mirage will come to a close very shortly. It's been a very strong showing out of Entropiq on the first map of this series. This has been the map pick of Nemiga as well. And for any Nemiga fans at home, this is definitely a worrying sign for the rest of the series, because up next is Overpass, Alex, and we've already highlighted the fact that Overpass is going to be a very comfortable map for Entropiq. It has been throughout this tournament already. It has been for these players traditionally as well. So heading into that second map, it's definitely going to be a difficult task now they've lost their map pick for Nemiga.
Yeah, that's a tough one to take. And for Entropiq, we can just keep on saying the same good things about them pretty much. I think Elian has once again showed us what he can do. I was actually going to mention, in that game that these two teams played 2 weeks ago, Elian had a really good series there. He was top fragging by some distance. I think he got close to dropping 30 on both maps the last time these teams played, and he got close to dropping 30 there. He probably would have if there were a few more rounds available to him. But in the end, Entropiq win too quickly to let that happen, which I guess is never a bad thing. You can't complain about that.
No, you can't really complain about this performance at all from Entropiq. I think, you know, there is little signs there of over-aggression, but for the most part, it was very, very well put together, very well disciplined for the most part as well. And when you're winning this convincingly, you can't complain about anything right now for Entropiq. They're looking very solid indeed, and they have been looking solid on Overpass, and that's coming up after the break. You don't want to go anywhere. If you're an Nemiga fan, go get some water, go get something, because they're coming back after the break. They're going to put up a fight. We'll see if they can do it in the second map after the break.